Chukwuma Ezeala joins us now. He's a legal practitioner as well, and also been involved in election monitoring activities for a while. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Well, now we're focusing again on this matter because as elections draw nearer, everyone looking to improve from where Professor Jega left off in INEC. And now, how do we move forward with this scenario in front of us? You think that this is just something with time it will be sorted when the chips are down?
Well, I think that we should do things properly. Let's not be creating legal, holds for people to hook onto, especially if they lose elections. And that is why some of us think that proper things should be done, both in terms of forming of quorum by INEC to conduct any of its activities or business, but in terms of people being properly appointed, because we lawyers want to look for one thing or the other to see how do we nullify this election, how do we overheat the system.
So does that mean that now that they've got 4 national commissioners left, nothing can be done, or is just major decisions cannot be taken without a quorum of the composition of the national commissioners?
The major decision or the major function of INEC is to conduct elections. And in fact, that is almost the principal thing it should do. So if you don't form a quorum, how do you decide dates for the elections? How do you conduct the elections? How do you announce results of the elections? How do you appoint the returning officers?
I know we asked the guest that just left this question, but let's put it to you as well. What makes that quorum? Now that there are just 4 commissioners and the acting chair, does that make a quorum?
In my view, it makes a quorum. Because
so they don't need to have the 12 complete.
No, they don't need to have it. Is 1/3. 1/3 is 4.
Okay. In other words, if they take a decision now, it can stand.
Now, when you say 4 makes a quorum, yes, chairman making it 5. Now, where we are getting worried is what the court will look at in terms of who is the chair. That is where some of us are worried. Why are we worried on that? How did the chair emerge? Not a question of who is she, what can she do, but it's a question of how was the appointment made? Is she a member of the commission, or is she not a member of the commission? Can you appoint from outside the commission without going through the details, without going through the constitutional provision? These are the issues now.
When you say can you appoint from outside the commission, the last chairman wasn't a member of the commission when he was appointed.
Yes. And he was not made acting chairman. His appointments came out as follows. His name was sent to the Council of State for consultation. He was approved by the Council of States. After that, his name was now sent to the Senate for confirmation. After that, he declared his assets and took oath of office. Very proper appointment. Now, the current acting chairman, if she is a member of the commission, she can act because she has done all those things.
At the time she was given the appointed acting chair,
yes,
she was a member of the commission.
Yes, she was a member of the commission
so
at the time. No, yes, at the time. And she was acting on the basis that she was a member of the commission. But once the tenure expires, she's no longer a member of the commission. So if you're now appointing her, you're going to appoint her following the due process. The Constitution said 5 years. So you can only act by virtue of being a member of the commission. Not by, just like Professor Jega could have continued acting at the expiration of his tenure. He could have been appointed acting chairman. Because if she can be appointed after the expiration of her office, it means that Professor Jega could have continued at the expiration. And the Constitution said no, Professor Jega could not have continued acting. And these are the distinct things we must look at.
Okay, let's move away from points of law for a minute and get over to Professor Lai Olurode, who joins us. He's a former national commissioner in INEC, and let's Okay, I understand it's not yet there, so we'll get back to him when that time does come. But about preparations for the elections and what we need to do and sort those things out, because in terms of the reports, we also do know that we've been keeping our tabs on INEC, waiting to see if they're going to publish the report on how the last elections were conducted. While you observe the elections, is it something you look forward to, or we have to wait until after the tribunals are over and done with before that report is published?
Reports are supposed to have been given to us 1 month, 2 months maximum, after 60 days after the elections, because the report is supposed to state to what extent has INEC fared, to what extent does this report, agree with the report of the independent observers. What are we expecting from INEC in other elections? So we ought to have seen the report by now. If you say it's after the tribunal, does it mean that the tribunal results will write the reports of INEC? The answer is no.
No, but many have said that if they go ahead and release that report now, isn't it going to perhaps affect how the tribunals are going on?
They have actually written a concrete report, that is announcement of results. They have done that. So if they now say publishing official reports, that is the prose aspect of it, they have done the mathematical aspect of it. The prose aspect of it is now what we are talking about. For them to say, yes, elections were conducted well in these areas and we are not. Yes, you can say that some people may want to use it, but does it mean we wait for 2 years? Remember that the tribunals will go on until 180 days. If you wait for 180 days in order to publish your report, after that, and you still have elections, except they are saying our reports are ready, we have it internally, we have not approved it, but remember when it's ready, it has to be approved by INEC. And it would have been nice for them to do it before the commissioners retire, so that they can make an input, they can criticize. In fact, it ought to have been done before the chairman leaves office.
While the elections went on the last time, many observed it. And, when INEC conducted that simulated test and then functions of the cartridges, they did say that they listed all those functions. But elections have come and gone. And so the reason why I'm still talking about that report is to the extent that we're supposed to be doing better than we did in the last elections. And so if the results or the reports, whatever state it is now, can we, from what you see, because the acting chairman of INEC there says, look, what we're doing now is to do better than where we have. And they're pretty much on course, don't you think?
Yes, I think they should be working, though many of the things they will be doing now, we may not be aware. That is one. But I want to believe they are doing much to ensure we have better and more credible elections in the states that are coming up today. But I think also part of the advice some of us will give is also to cast a second look at the card reader, and also to a bit more closely monitor how it works and do a self-auditing of the card readers, because we understand some of the things that happened. And some politicians have, in Nigeria, when you have anything, people will go and understudy it and find out how do you beat the system.
But electronic voting, that's part of what was mooted, suggested in several quarters. Isn't it something that we should be considering as the next level with INEC?
I think it should be one of the best things we should do. And that is why, but of course, it shouldn't be in the next 3-6 months, because they will not be ready for such. Now, if INEC starts working consistently towards using electronic voting, which means when they get to, normally there will be Ondo, Anambra, Ekiti elections that will come up before the general elections.
And we have to amend the law before that.
And we would have to amend the law to avoid any controversy. In my view, there wouldn't be any need to really amend the law, but to avoid any controversy.
But the law doesn't recognize electronic voting,
yeah, it was as a result of some agitations that the law says, no, we have not necessarily, voted in electronic voting. But I think if INEC starts working hard and convinces the lawmakers that we can actually go into electronic voting, so that everybody will be carried along, there will be no controversy, they will agree.
Does that bill have to come from INEC, or can it be an executive bill?
It can be an executive bill, it can be a member's bill, it can come from INEC through the executive still. So anybody can actually introduce the bill. The important thing is, would the lawmakers accept it? Would they pass it? And then after passage, would the president sign the bill into law? It can come from anybody.